Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
2 years of COVID has disrupted not only the way we live, but it's had a huge impact on how we do business. For many, it's imposed a terribly negative effect on mindset, and it'll take a big shift to change the uncertainty that's crept in. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Sales expert Tony Gattari has seen a lot of economic upheaval over the many decades he's helped businesses with their sales function. But this pandemic is nothing like he's experienced. He says the biggest obstacle today is overcoming fear. That fear, he explains to Chris Ashmore, leads to procrastination.
People don't make decisions. So what they do is they stall. Because when there is uncertainty, the market does nothing. And for the first time ever, many salespeople in many industries have had to deal with uncertainty. They've had to deal with procrastination. They've had to deal with people who're saying, look, I'd like to buy, but I'm not sure that I'm comfortable buying at this present stage. And that is a very unique phenomena if you've actually never experienced that before. And it highlights one thing, the most important thing. It's a concept of embracing risk reversal. And risk reversal is a marketing strategy that was used to great effect when markets are really tough. And what it is, it's basically offering some sort of guarantee to reduce the fear. I'll give you a classic example because I work in the travel industry and no other industry has probably been as decimated as the travel industry. Let's be totally frank. And we specialise in international travel. So effectively, Australians going to Europe. Okay, now, in the past, when people went to Europe, their big concerns were price. Okay? Now it's got nothing to do with price. You know what it's got to do with? If I deposit with you, will I lose my money if I can't go? So we've had to re-engineer the business in many ways to actually take the fear of loss away from that consumer. Now, that wasn't in the conversation before. That was never in the conversation before. But now, that's become the major aspect. The major aspect has been, okay, what happens if I deposit and I can't go? Do I lose my money? Now, they don't want a credit. They actually want their money back. And then what they also want to do is they want to delay their payment as late as possible. So essentially, they're stalling the last payment to the nth degree. And they also want to guarantee that if I can't go in 2022, I can go in 2023. So the whole conversation has changed. And essentially, if a business is not embracing this, it could actually be talking about things that are no longer important and realizing that the essence is changing their language to reduce fear. When you reduce fear, you're actually then breaking procrastination. And the only way you can do that is by taking more risk, where you take the risk, okay, away from the consumer. So it effectively becomes a conversation which says, you can't lose with us, okay? You can't lose your money. And that's essentially where some businesses have had to go. But on the other side, Chris, some businesses have boomed. You know, online businesses, we all know, have gone through the roof. So where COVID has affected certain industries, where it's decimated, is actually created enormous prosperity in other areas and other industries.
Well, how then at the coalface, Tony, what practical steps can sales teams think about now to increase sales growth?
Okay, well, I think first of all, When you're not generating as many leads as you used to, which might be the case at the moment because many people have gone into self-isolation. Okay, and self-isolation is, although the government has decreed go out there and do things, many people are actually self-isolating. And just recently, we had heard reports from Myers and all the big retailers that their sales are down. The sales are down because people aren't willing to actually go out. So what you've actually got to do is that you've got to improve your conversion rates, because in the past, you generated lots of leads. Now you're saying, I don't have as many leads as I used to. I have to somehow improve my conversion rate. So it's really challenging their organizations to look at their strategy or their sales system of how do I convert better now? And the benefit of doing that, Chris, is that let's just say you're able to improve your conversion rate during this time. When the market does bounce back, you're going to have a much more bigger business because you're going to start generating more leads, but your conversion rate is going to go from, say, 30% to 40%. So you've got the double whammy of more leads, more conversion rates. So in many ways, you might look at this adversity saying, oh, woe to me. But in many ways, it actually might, in the long term, build a better business. Because, I know, Chris, the enemy is never adversity. The enemy is always comfortability. Okay? Always has been. People get lazy. It's nice to do, but we don't need to do it because we're swimming in money. Now, some industries have had to actually do it. And we've seen amazing advances in hospitality. We have seen hospitality businesses that have re-engineered their entire business to survive. Things that they never did before, they're suddenly doing because they have been forced to do. The travel industry has done the same. Many industries that have been affected have had to actually re-engineer their business by default. And in doing that, they've created a new revenue stream.
If you want a business advisor that walks with you and not just talks with you, then Mazars is the right fit for your business. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
Well, you talk about the increase in leads and, of course, conversion, but to get those leads, what does that come down to? Is it the old traditional way of doing sales, picking up the phone, knocking on doors? How do you do it now?
Look, I think it's a combination of both. Yes, there is an old principle, activity always leads to results. And there's no doubt that that does occur. And I think you've got to have multiple lead generation strategies, and that could be digital and that could also be offline. But I think also in many ways, you actually have to offer clients a guarantee, okay? That risk reversal strategy has to be a part of your unique selling proposition. I think you need to have a stronger USP of why they should buy from you. Then you need to have a risk reversal strategy to break away the inherent fear that they might have. Then I think you've got to generate leads and you've got to measure which is the best mechanism of generating leads. You've got to eliminate the things that aren't working. You've got to then systemize the things that do work. And I think it's really understanding that asking the better question is, what return on investment am I getting from leads? What is my best lead source? Where should I invest the money? Because now, Chris, more so than any other time, you have multiple ways of generating leads. We have everything from SEM, SEO, you've got Facebook advertising, you've got social media, you've got print, you've got press, you've got word of mouth. And there are so many different ways and everyone's going, our way is the best. I don't know what way is the best. What I do know is the best way to find out is test and measure. So I think there has to be a greater emphasis on test and measure. I think there has to be a greater emphasis on generating leads, but also improving the conversion rates.
Yeah, Tony, final question. You've been in business for many, many years and you've seen a lot of these ups and downs with, say, the dot-com boom and bust, and then, there's the GFC and a whole lot of other things in between. We seem to go back to some kind of normal once things settle down a bit. Is this different? Are we going to get back to some kind of normal, or has the pandemic changed the way we do business?
That is a very, very good question. Well, first of all, this has gone on now for 2 years, okay? That is a long time. And I think the media saturation that COVID has created in many ways has shaped or changed the nature of the industries. I do know for certain that the travel industry will never be the same. In fact, 70% or 60% of travel agents are now closed. They're broke. So fundamentally, they don't exist anymore. So where people used to go to travel agents, they no longer exist. So in many ways, certain industries have changed and the client has also changed. I also think that the client themselves, in many ways, has also changed. I think they're probably valuing things more locally. I think they're looking at their quality of life. I think they're questioning, why do I work also so hard? Okay, and I think those factors are really combining to really change the nature. Certain industries will bounce back, and it's great that they will bounce back. But here's the other thing, Chris. Okay, this is why I'm so passionate. A lot of smaller companies, what they tend to do is that when times get tough, they reduce their marketing. They stop doing it because they view marketing as an expense, not an investment. Now, if you're able to continue to market and sell, what tends to happen is that your market share will increase in a static or declining market. And when the market comes again, your business booms because not only is the market booming, but your market share has increased. And you see this because a lot of organizations embrace this where they've got the entrepreneurial spirit to realize that this could be a great opportunity for us to pick up market share because a lot of our competitors are actually fleeing. We're not fleeing, we're expanding. So it's the way you look at the world, Chris. It really is.
That was Tony Gattari, Managing Director of Achievers Group. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.